sounded like this big swarm of bees. Do you know what I mean? Just bzzz.
What the is that?
That is the most annoying sound in the world.
Hello everybody, this is Dr. Philip Riccobono, and welcome to the Sports English Podcast. Today, returning is author Kirsten Wächter. She is completing a book called The Beautiful Game. Now, on our website, sportsenglish.org, you can see our latest book, Baseball English, which is also available on Amazon. Actually, this month, it's on sale. So please check it out. Okay, let's now go to part 2 of the interview with Kirsten Wächter, where we will discuss English for football or soccer, amongst other things. See you on the other side. Can you give us a little preview about the book? One thing that I love about it is the international flair. You have characters in the book from all over the world. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I think that's another thing. I think there's hardly any other sport that symbolizes globalization as much as football. And we see this like, there's a website where you can check every nationality. And there's going to be a link in the teacher's guide. Actually, there's going to be lots of links in the teacher's guide. If you're not so experienced teaching football or English for football, you get a lot of help. But you can really check where people from your country play. And I said, if we want to sell this to people who are studying at a football academy, or think about moving to a football academy in Spain or in Britain or something like this, and they really need good English skills because English is the language of football, then we have to open the perspective. So it can't be just European. It's not about English football. It's about the world sport. So that's why we have people from Southeast Europe, from South America, from Japan, from Africa, so from Cameroon, this particular case. And I think that that's really important that we incorporate the world, because that's what often people see. They see only this little part of the football world in England and say that's not it. And it's the same about the topics. Of course, there will be the technical part, the skills, the on-pitch commands, the gear, the kits, everything. But as we said earlier, football is also a great motor. So it's also about money. It's also about fan culture. It's why do people like it? It's about the emotions. So it's really about helping people to better talk and write about football and to understand when people speak and write about football in a better way, to really get more out of it and to understand all these fantastic commentaries that you have on YouTube from anyone, but they're really very specific. It's a specific jargon as to speak. And so it will really help people to have a better understanding of the global English of football.
If somebody wants to get interested, wants to learn English for football, whether they're in China, they're in Hua Hin, Thailand, where my favorite football club is Hua Hin FC. Not many people know about it. It's like 4th division in Thailand, but that's where my second home is. But anyhow, if somebody wants to learn English for football, where would you say a good place to start is? Aside from the upcoming textbook, how did you learn it? How are you finding that a lot of your students or people you've taught learn English for football?
So apart from the book, I think the key problem is there's very patchy information available. So, for example, if you want to understand the BBC or the Sky or ITV commentary, then you already need to have really something like a solid B2 level of English in general, and then learn the jargon. So, and just from listening, you will not pick up the words. I actually think press conferences are quite good because very often the managers are non-native speakers and they're easier to follow because it's not the most complicated English. And then you can start learning the vocabulary when they talk about the players or something. And if you're lucky, the subtitles on the video platform that you use are quite good. I think reading helps a lot, and basically watching the World Cup matches, learning the basic vocabulary. And there's some activities available online, but as I said, it's not in one place. You would have to go to 20 different websites to start teaching yourself. So I learned this really from discussing this with my friends in Scotland and in Manchester. And so Man United fans and something like this. And I started really by watching football, but I really had to look at words for this. And you don't like doing that during a match because it spoils the fun basically. So you do that maybe with all this material available these days, but it's still just listening doesn't make you learn the language. So you need activities to do that.
Now, one of the terms that's in the book, speaking of technical words, is I'm going to give it my best shot here. Vuvuzela. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And I noticed, and I'll put the photo in, a photo of you with the Vuvuzela, and to me, that's a technical football term, if there ever was one, especially for the fandom. So, can you talk about that, the Vuvuzela and the whole backstory about that? I first was introduced to it World Cup, South African World Cup, which is, I want to say, 10 years ago or so. Yeah.
So basically, Vuvuzela is an African word because it comes from South Africa, but it's been one of the rituals that was established during a specific World Cup. And I think FIFA banned the Vuvuzelas later, but that doesn't stop the supporters from using them. So it depends. And it just symbolizes that part of the pleasure of the crowd is actually the noise. So the drums, the banter, the singing, like one end starts singing, the other end starts singing back and everything. So it's part of this mass rituals, like a big pop concert, which is why I think it's so popular in Japan. Because I know from the Japanese fans, they say we have two outlets if we want to go really wild: pop music, pop concerts, or football, because we can't do it at home. Because
and baseball too.
You can't do it in your neighborhood.
I would throw baseball into the equation as well. Baseball games.
Yeah,
for sure.
So big sports events. And that's also what you see in the backgrounds, which is the qualification match, Germany versus Scotland 2014 that we went to. And the Scots brought the bagpipes. And you got any idea how loud bagpipes are? It's fantastic.
Wow.
They were all over the stadium in a minority, but they were much louder than the Germans because they had the bagpipes. And it's like the Mexican wave, which the Mexicans started in some World Cup, I think in the US in 1994, and it just stuck because fans love adopting rituals. So the Vuvuzela stuck as well. And they became then a football ritual. They symbolize some of the joy that people have about football.
And now, are they banned? The FIFA has banned them from events?
FIFA banned them, but I think people still use them outside or maybe in the league games or something like this. And we got one at home from the 2010 World Cup, where the Germans made it to third place. So again, not too bad, before they finally won the World Cup again. And the final wasn't the best match in 2014. The best match in 2014 was the semi-final versus Brazil. And it was so amazing. And one of the best English lessons, Phil, I ever did was the day after, because I bought this big tabloid in Germany, and it had this no words, and they just showed full-size pictures of each goal. And I took this into my classroom, and I had a level of B2 students, and their task was to reenact the match in the past simple. And they were able to do this. And they were all football crazy. And that was one of the most brilliant lessons because they were so eager to talk about football in a grammatically correct tense, of course. And we just enjoyed this so much. And and then he did this, and then he played and crossed and everything. And that was fantastic. And this is how you can really make the lessons sparkle in a way. So, especially in my part of Germany. They even wore the German shirts to the lesson. What can I say? That's Dortmund for you.
I love the passion. I love the passion, Kirsten. So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, social media, email, anything, how would they do so?
Well, they can contact me best possibly on LinkedIn. So I'm also on Facebook, but I use Facebook more for my personal part. But I think the easiest would be to go on LinkedIn or to contact me through the website or something like this and get in touch that way. So I think that would definitely work. But I've got a big network on LinkedIn, and this is, I think, also, of course, we're going to promote the book, so there will also be ways to comment, and that will feed back to me or something like this. And I usually share also extra resources. As I said, in the Teacher's Guide, we'll put a huge amount of links, and if people need extra information, extra support, I'm always happy to help, because I think it really helps people to make their lessons more interesting when they teach English, but it also really helps if you want to be a professional footballer. So we have a lot of self-study activities in the book. So even if you do it outside the classroom, because you say, I have to do this, I want to be a journalist, sports journalist, I need to be able to write about football, there will be plenty of activities in the book where you say, okay, so that's something I can do. I can teach myself. I can check things. And I think that's also great because not everybody will do this in the classroom.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to the book coming out sometime this year. It looks like we're in the editing stages, the layout stages right now. It's very exciting. Kirsten and I have been back and forth emailing each other almost every day recently, and having a great time working on it. So, Kirsten, yes. Thank you so much. Is there anything you wanted to touch on before we sign off here?
No, I just say it will definitely be out before the Men's World Cup in Qatar.
Yes. And when is that? When is that?
That's in December, November, December.
Yes, we're going to push hard.
So we'll definitely be out before that, so people can prepare for that. So that's fine. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic opportunity, and I really look forward to the finished design and the product. And I think it's going to be great. There's so many people working quite hard on this, putting the energy in and the passion that they have. Like recording the audios, doing the layout and everything. That's fantastic too. So it's a great teamwork.
It is. Thanks, Kirsten. We'll see you down the line.
Thank you, Phil.
Wow. That was a really fun interview with Kirsten. It's always great chatting with her. We will hear from her again in the future on this podcast. So, folks, if you are interested in learning English for sports, please check out our Twitter, Go Sports English. Again, it is Go Sports English. Our website is sportsenglish.org. And we also have books on Amazon. Upcoming books include Rugby English, Sports English, and possibly we are looking into some other books, including idioms, sports idioms, which there are many, like they threw me a curveball or I knocked it out of the park. So that's something that we will be looking at in the future. So wherever you might be listening in the world, have a great morning, good afternoon, and an awesome evening. From the Sports English Podcast Studios, I'm Dr. Philip Riccobono. Thank you for listening.